Hey, how you going? My name is Speca and I am the team captain for Team Order, and today we're doing a little tier list of Rainbow Six defending operators. I believe that this is for a, ranked sort of solo queue hybrid, so I'll be leaning toward that solo queue to try to give you guys some insight into how to climb up the ranks. Alright, so starting this off, a little tier list here, ladies and gentlemen. We are, of course, including the Thunderbird release with this. Recruit, look, he's not really that relevant, I'm sorry. So, the operators that I'm going to be teaching you guys more about are kind of ones that facilitate more solo play, I suppose, because this is that solo queue. So that's going to be a mixture of allowing you to roam, per se, to be a bit more aggressive, and then potentially to actually just be assisting the team, like really crucial operators. So I think crucial operators, for example, would be Jaeger in S tier. Always need the boy. And honestly, I would say Wamai, like both of these guys are super crucial in regard to utility denial, such as grenades, impacts, severe stun grenades in general, nomad charges, any projectile. It's phenomenal to have these operators on, and you really should be running them as much as you possibly can. So look to definitely pick up those at some point in time. If you're looking to get a bit more solo aggressive and actually roam, I would honestly say, as far as a solo queue ability goes, Vigil again is probably S tier. I would say he facilitates you to be able to do what you want by yourself. He's got impacts, he's got a great gun, he's a 3 speed, real quick, so he's pretty fun to play and he's pretty useful, I would say. Coming back to, I guess, more on that roam, I would say on that note, Mozzie's about an A tier. He's a bit harder to play than Vigil, as in you have to have a bit of in-game knowledge of how to actually place your Mozzie cams and how to place them effectively to allow yourself to roam more, but again, very handy operator and phenomenal for that solo play. Going back into more team enhancing characters, I would say Melusi is most definitely an A tier. You can cover 3 flanks if you place her Melusi charges correctly and intelligently. Not charges, sorry, the Banshees rather. So very, very crucial. Okay, geez Louise, what else have we got? Mute, absolutely phenomenal. He is getting a nerf next patch though, so a bit less useful, but still very, very good. So he definitely cops an A tier. Has a shotgun, so you can make rotates, set up sight. And again, on that note, I would say Smoke is probably an A tier as well, in the facts that you can actually facilitate a site setup. So if you are solo queuing, you might notice your teammates aren't always that good, so you should really lead by example and set up the site and make it a professional, not a professional, but an easier way to play. Make rotates yourself, some verticality, stuff like that. So having a shotgun operator such as Mute or Smoke really does help with that. I would say you go into, potentially go about some denial operators now. So Cade, he's pretty crucial, pretty good. I would say B tier. There's a bit of a skill gap to his claws. If you just throw them on a wall, it's pretty generic, but if you actually become a bit more creative with him, he definitely becomes a more powerful and influential operator. Again, has 2 fantastic guns. The TCSG is one of them, which allows you to make rotates, and I believe he has the AUG as his alternate within 1.5 times. So a really effective gun, really good at long range fights. Has C4 as well. He's pretty much what you're looking for if you want some denial. For walls, Bandit's needing some love at the moment. He's got 4 batteries. They're not great, they're not bad. It's good for surface area, I suppose, but again, it's pretty mundane in the sense you can get creative with cage charges, whereas you can't really with Bandit. Just by the way, I just want to take a moment just to set some ambiance, if you will. Just need a candle. On these days, you gotta have a nice little scent, and it is somber. It's nice, so please allow me to take a moment to allow yourself to calm down. Just everybody just take a nice little breath, and we'll continue. But beautiful. Okay, thank you. On this note of, I guess we'll talk more about solo players. I'm kind of bouncing all over the shop. I'm doing this all off the fly, so it's not really a chronological list. But I would say that Legion is a B tier. He used to be insane because you would have your little Legion icons all over the map, and you'd be able to place them on any flank, any area of the map really, and you'd have instant intel on whether or not it had been, walked through or destroyed. So you'd have a full, pretty much idea of the map, and if that was still good, in regard to if it was still like that, I would say Legion would be an S tier, but he's got impact, he's got a fantastic gun, really good operator. Oryx does facilitate some really nice solo play, but again, he's kind of hard, so I would say if you're, a very eager, aggressive roamer, I would say B tier. If you're a bit more unconfident, potentially a C tier, because there's of course a skill gap to him, but he has a bailiff so he can make rotates for the team. He can open up hatches for himself. Very, very useful, I would say. Maestro, similarly, isn't a roamer, actually, so not similar at all, but does have the bailiff. I would say he definitely earns a B tier. He's, again, this is all for solo queue. If this was a team kind of format, he would definitely be a bit higher. He has 2 phenomenal cameras. They're a bit weaker now that you can have them be melee hit, and disables the vision on them. However, they're still very, very effective and still has a great kit on him and a great gun, so definitely worth playing. Caveira, honestly, more or less similar to Oryx, like, you know, can be a bit of fun in solo queue, but you're going to have to really kind of flesh it out and know your little locations and hidey spots and all that, so there is a skill gap to it, somewhat. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say Frost, probably a B tier, can do a lot of sight setup, has still a very strong gun, has a shield, has a shotgun. So what I'm getting at here is if you have this operators with these shotguns are a bit more useful because you can actually, you know, set up the map again, going back to that point. If you have bad teammates, you want to kind of lead by example and you know, set it up as opposed to just having a bitch and a moan, I would say. So I'd say similarly, potentially Alibi is a B tier. She's just got a good gun, really. She's got a good gun, she's got a shield, she's got a bailiff. Frost is, I would say, better in regard to, despite her having lost her 1.5 times, you can still deny 3 jump-ins, or 3 kind of random positions with your Frost mats. Whereas Alibi is more of a distraction, more of a kind of... It's not... It's definitely like a B to C tier. It's almost in the hybrid there, but we'll just put her in the B tier because she does have that 1.5 times and is pretty much like a lot of fun to play. I would say Echo is hard in a team unless you are in a team environment, so I'm going to give him a C. I was thinking D, because basically with Echo you need to work with teammates, and of course you can't always work with teammates in ranked. It's unfortunate, but it is how it is. So we'll put him in the C tier for now, but I would say he is definitely one of the more difficult operators to play that requires you to play with teammates. Clash, I would easily put in a B tier. Again, in a team environment, if you start queuing some friends, just grows exponentially. You have people to work off with, you can harass, get free intel, you have a big shield pretty much, so you're a pretty terrifying menace for the attacking team. Still worth bringing in solo queue potentially though, if you wanted to switch up how your site's being played, or if you wanted to take a different kind of style, but again, you really require a teammate to have that, so hopefully if you have some good teammates, can definitely be facilitated. Tachanka definitely earns a spot in A tier at the moment. He's got fantastic denial. He's got, you know, his DP, which is phenomenal with destruction and making rotates, verticality. It's a very strong gun, slow fire rate, but it's pretty fun and it sounds pretty epic. So I mean, honestly, Tachanka's definitely gotten some love. Also has a shield now. So pretty much, I would say, as you can see where I'm leaning towards, the operators that I tend to favor in this solo queue environment are ones where you can either just go absolutely crazy on your lurk, you have some form of strong denial, such as this Jaeger, this Wamai, and then more or less if you can actually manipulate the site and set it up and still have utility to actually, you know, do more than that. So for example, you know, your Tachanka with flames, your mute with jammers, and then your smoke with the smoke canisters, of course, which is all time killers or drone denial, more or less. Aruni is a very strong operator, but you have to be very intentional with your placements. Again, just grows exponentially in a team environment, but does deserve a B tier, I believe, in this current list. Warden, bit of a solo up, really good if you're facing kind of, you know, heavy utility lineups, which dependent on your rank you won't really. So I'd say he's about a C tier, but of course his value will grow based on what you're versing. It's a very situational operator, is what I'm getting at. Thunderbird's pretty neat, definitely a B tier, has a fantastic kit, has her spear, I believe it is, with the 1x, which is a very strong gun, has her Thunderbird stations, and, you know, it's just free heals, really. You can also, little tip, you can deploy, and then get your heal, pick it up, and it's almost like an ADS trick, but you just get to constantly get healing. You don't have to wait for the whole ticker to fill all the way around. So if you are on a lurk, you come back to site, you can just, you know, heal yourself up, juice yourself up, pick it up, repeat until you're good to go, and you can go back to the action or anchor on site. It's pretty handy. Now my girl Velk, S tier. Why? Because it can facilitate phenomenal aggression, pre-play C4s, retakes, intel. She's amazing. She'll be banned in most of your games, I'd say, but if she isn't, I highly recommend bringing her. She's just a very fun operator, very flexible, you have C4, you have Deagle. So if you do have your team that actually has the capabilities to set up the site, she's absolutely great to bring. So definitely worth looking at that. Yo-Yo is definitely a good operator, has C4, has a good gun, 2 shields, used to be much stronger, but still very strong and consistent, definitely deserves a B tier, but needs to be combined with a Jaeger or a Mai, or you're going to be not really that useful. So its value does drop to definitely a C, if not even like, I'm not going to say a D, but he doesn't really bring much outside of his shields and C4, is what I'm getting at. So if you don't actually have the capabilities to back that up and make it be worthwhile, it's not really worth it. So now we're just going to put, I think, Rook and Doc in C. Rook will be getting a bit of extra love next patch, so that could bump him up to a B. It'll be giving you an HP boost as opposed to just this plate arm, which reduces explosive damage. Doc, again, kind of a solo up, pretty fun, very good in regard to he's got, you know, his stims, he's got his 1.5 times, but in comparison to Thunderbird, there's no comparison at all. It's just night and day, I would say. Thunderbird, much more flexible. Doc, you're very limited. Plus, you have set amount of heals, whereas Thunderbird, you can heal the whole team all day, every day. No questions asked, no stress at all. So, I would say Pulse, he's decent. He's good. He doesn't get much play competitively. Every so often, of course, like you'll see him on a lot of verticality maps. And more or less you can do something the same in solo queue. Bit of free intel, but I would say he would be almost I'd say, really depending on how your attacking team is playing, can go from a B to a C. If they're actually clearing you out, you're going to need teammates to back you up, or you're just going to be a lone man in a scary world. And you don't want to be doing that. You want to be having some form of assistance through your teammates, and that then will facilitate Pulse to have more value. But just for, you know, hypotheticals, let's just say he's a B tier in regards to you're not getting hunted super hard. You can do these awesome C4s up, you know, based on your pulse intel, your pulse scanner. His gun's alright. But yeah, there is a, oh look, he's literally in between the two. I would say C because there's a skill gap to him. He's not easy to pick up instantly, but he is fun and he does bring a lot of value. So if you want to learn him, again, you can master him and you can be phenomenal with this character. He can be so powerful, but there is a steep learning curve to him in regard to knowing how to use your scanner, how to time that with then C4s, waiting for, you know, timings on when to C4, knowing which floors you can C4 through. And then of course, as I was saying, with you potentially getting roam cleared, you want to make sure that you have a team. Mira's always really good. She's definitely a B tier. It's terrifying to face up against a Mira. She has a shotgun, can make rotates, can do a lot of denial. I'd almost say she's an A tier, even with the nerf. She excels on certain sites, so let's just say she could be an A tier in regard to there are certain sites that you can bring Mira on, and it'll completely shut it down. So for example, in Oregon, you know, you could have a Mira on a mixture of freezer as well as the front closet, and you can deny the entirety of basement front Oregon. It's pretty hard to push. You're not going to be wanting to do that, so you'll probably have your team, or your opponents rather, defaulting into a potential rear clear, or running into your mirrors, which if they do that, you know, it's a bit of a shooting gallery for you, unless they look to smoke off your mirror and potentially open up with a hard breach. But then this is where it gets into those intricacies, as if you tell your teammates, hey, bring some impact grenades or something like that, you could have somebody deny that hard breach, which will preserve your mirror for extra crucial time. And the longer the round goes on, the more value that she has, because it's just a bit of pressure. Capcan, he's honestly not bad. He's got a really good gun, he's got a 1.5 times, has C4, has impacts, and he's got 5 traps, I believe, that can be spread over the map. I don't believe it's 6. So honestly, he's a hybrid between B and C, but we're going to put him in C because similarly there's a learning curve to him that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to know where to place your traps to facilitate potentially your lurks or, you know, the backstabs of your team. And that's pretty much it. Ella, she's not bad at all. B tier, fantastic shotgun. It is genuinely horrific to verse. It's terrifying. So if you're playing a map that's close proximity, such as again Oregon per se basement, you can deny the entirety of rear. You have a shield. You have this phenomenal shotgun. You've got a pistol with a scope on it, so you can do decent long range aim duels. You know, if you're confident doing that. If not, the Scorpion's still not a bad gun at all. Castle, I would say C tier. Steep learning curve to him to know what's actually useful, what's not. And then of course there is the ability to, you know, bring, I think he has bulletproof, and I forget his last gadget. But regardless, what I'm getting at is that his castle barricades can be detrimental to your team, or they can be very enhancing. But he does also have that shotgun, so he's a bit more useful with that. And that pretty much wraps up our tier list, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed watching. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk you on through, and I just genuinely, sincerely hope that some of these picks or little recommendations and descriptions on how these operators play out will assist you in your climbing of the solo queue. Remember, if you can get some friends to play with, it's much funner. You can grow as teammates and all that, so try to find some regular people. If you're struggling to find them, you can always get them through ranked, and I'm sure you'll find some people at some point that are at a similar skill level to you and you can climb the ranks together. But that's all from me. Quick little summary, sorry. Our S tiers are mainly crucial operators, such as, Jaeger or Maya, and you've got some, lurking operators there that facilitate very solo plays, which is phenomenal. A tier is a mixture of denial, still lurking, covering flanks, and then, the Bs and Cs start to hybrid out to characters that have a steep learning curve, or are really reliant on teammates, potentially backing you up and giving you some form of assistance. And that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching. This has been Speca from Team Order. Much love. Appreciate you all so much, and hope this helps out. We'll catch you around.